G'day guys, it's the Aussie Randy here, and today I've decided to do something completely fucking different, and in fact I'm going to try to educate you and myself at the same time. You see, I'm going to do a little bit of comparative philosophy today. Not really heavy stuff, so you don't have to worry about it, you don't have to be a genius, because I'm going to do the work for you, but I'm going to show you a little bit about comparative philosophy. Now, what is comparative philosophy? It's where you've got two philosophies from two different cultures at two different times that share the same idea, at least in spirit, in essence. And today it's all about working. Today it's all about living and working and the good works of man, and that there is a time, a season, if you will, for everything under the sun to do. It's both hope and hopelessness, I guess. So the first reading I'm going to do is going to be from the Old Testament, and my old mate, my good old mate, because this book really helped me start on the track for philosophy. His name is King Solomon. Well, apparently King Solomon is attributed to him anyway, and the book is Ecclesiastes. Now, you might be a bit weirded out the fact that I'm an atheist and what the hell you're doing in the Bible. Here's the thing, I don't fear knowledge. I don't fear how it's expressed, I don't give a shit. If it has a lesson to learn, it's good. You don't have to worry about the God stuff, although I am going to use the word God. You can replace it with the word idea of God or whatever you want, but still. So I'm looking at chapter 4. Oh, hang on. No, I'm not. Looking for chapter 3, sorry, verse 1. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill, a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep, a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them up. A time to embrace and a time to refrain. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. Now, other than that piece of poetry later being used by a band and everything turn, that's an interesting philosophy, and it is a piece of philosophy. You've got to remember that when it comes to religion, it's our earliest attempts at philosophy, as the great man Christopher Hitchens once pointed out. So, what about a comparison? Well, how about some Hesiod, the Greek poet Hesiod? So here we go. Do not postpone for tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Barns are not filled by those who postpone and waste time in aimlessness. Work prospers with care. He who postpones wrestles with ruin. And the sun's fierce swelter abates with the coming of Zeus's rains in autumn. A man's body feels much lighter because the dog's star, now night's lover, much longer stands only a brief part of the day. Over the heads of men death's fattened victims, then wood cut with the axe from trees and shed their leaves. And stop sprouting, it is too tough to be eaten by worms. Remember, that is the right time for lumbering. And this is where you get comparative philosophy. Once again, there is a season for everything under the sun. Now, Hesiod, of course, was not just talking about farming, he was talking about life in general. Just the same as Solomon. There is a time for everything. Every purpose has a time. Now, one could quite easily argue, yes, but one's talking about Jehovah God, the overarching deity, especially in the Old Testament sense. There was no Satan wasn't an evil god back then. There was no hell. There was only Sheol, the common grave of mankind. And yet Hesiod, of course, had a plurality of gods. There were many different gods in the Greek pantheon. And yes, whilst that's true, the spirit of the philosophy remains the same. There is a time for everything under the sun. One, of course, though, was Greek. We're talking somewhere around about 5th or 6th century BCE. And King David's son, apparently that's who Solomon was, King David's son. And there was a King David of Israel, and that King David, they believe, lived around about 1000 BCE. So we could probably put Solomon somewhere between 40 to 100 BCE. So you've got two different locations, Greece and Israel, writing very similar ideas philosophically. And it's a philosophy that we still have to this day. The idea, even though we don't believe in destiny perhaps as much as they did back then, although I'm quite sure that there are many who do, I'm not one of them. It tells you that there is a right and wrong time to make a decision. Even if your decision is necessarily good, it is better to be patient and do things as you must do them than rush into them and fuck them up, or procrastinate, they never get done, and you're worse for it. And both of them mention death. Why? Because death is the final answer to life. It's the terminus. It's the full stop. And in both cultures, especially in more in the Judaic tradition, it is literally a full stop until the kingdom comes with the Messiah, which they're still waiting for, by the way. So the Greeks, on the other hand, you were likely to be turned into a shade and walk for eternity in misery in their version of the Vale of Shades, or, well, that's the English translation, and their version, I guess, of purgatory. Not a very pleasant place to be, I would imagine. So the philosophy is there is a time for everything. No procrastination if there's no need for procrastination. Do not jump too quickly, or the same result will prevail. Do things in the time that they need to be done. Build the bridge you need to build at the time, but don't be afraid to burn that bridge and leave it behind you if you must. Well, this was Googs and a short lesson on comparative philosophy from Hesiod and King Solomon. Hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, let me know. And if you didn't enjoy it, nah, not this time. If you didn't enjoy it, fine, let me know. I won't do another one. It all depends on you guys. Anyway, until next time. See, nearly jumped the gun, but now I know the time is right. Fuck you, get fucked and fuck off. I'm the Rant Aussie. Au revoir. Alright. G'day guys, it's the Rant Aussie. Hey, did you like this video? Comment down below. Like the video? Share, and most importantly, subscribe. I'll catch you later.